Right, good morning. I think it's 1 minute, still kind of morning. Good to see everybody. You should hopefully hear me all okay. I haven't actually checked to make sure my mic is on, but there should be a chat box there for you all. I've left it open, so it should all be open. But could you just let me know? Just probably yes in the chat if you can hear me all okay. Fingers crossed. You can. You can. Good to see you, Paul. Good to see you, Debbie, Kate. Good to see you. Amazing stuff. So today, guys, I'm not going to spend. I've got so much to get through. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time, kind of like introducing the session. I'm going to share my slides in literally about 30 seconds and get going. Really, what I wanted to do right at the beginning, because there'll be some of you that have no idea who I am, some of you that may know who I am. Actually, to be fair, if you've been to one of my sessions before, could you pop the number one in the chat for me? If you haven't, can you pop the number two just so I can see the split? That would be like really helpful for me. So Kate and Paul haven't. Good to have you here, guys. Amazing. Kevin, Val's a two as well. Walter's a what? Good to see you again, Walter. Hope all is well. We've got Clive, we've got Brian, Michelle. Amazing, cool. So it's a bit of a split. There's 30 of you in the room. I'm expecting between 50 and 60 of you today. So enough really so I can make sure that I've got enough time to be able to answer any questions that you've got. These sessions, we've previously had hundreds of them, and actually I found it's too big of a room to make sure that you get enough value from it. So what I want to make sure with this one is that you get all of your questions answered. So with today, if there are any questions that you have at all I need you to do, there's a Q&A box on Zoom that you should hopefully be able to see it. On there, if you pop your questions in there, I can 100% guarantee that by the end of today, you will have your questions answered. If you pop it in the chat box, because it's lower volume of you, I should be able to see it. But if I don't and I miss it, it's nothing personal. It's just an accident. So if you like really want your question answered, pop it into the Q&A box. Now, the one question that I ask from the majority of my sessions that I run to really make this as valuable for you as possible as I can. I'd love to actually know what is it that you want from this session today. So is it insights on, is it just an update on LinkedIn? Is it lead generation, understand how to generate more leads from it? Is it how to get more conversations from it as per the title of the session? Is it how do you get more business from it? Like, what is it specifically that's going to make this really useful for you? So Walter said LinkedIn profile. Debbie said leads. So I'm covering leads obviously today. Conversations on LinkedIn, which is fine. Vala's said more business, more leads. So kind of here it looks like moving people from the LinkedIn platform, getting their attention, and then trying to transition that via connecting with them into a qualified conversation is how we would normally do it without pitch slapping them. Carolyn's just said, yeah, 100%. That for me is really, really key. LinkedIn, I think, has become a bit of a spam fest recently from the messages that I receive day to day. Now, the good news is because of all of those spam messages, it actually makes it a lot easier to stand out. And that's what I'm seeing from just the numbers and the evidence that I'm just going to share with you today. So everything today is kind of taken from my campaign that I run on my account, but also we have a community of around just under 300 people that we basically test. Like they use our campaigns and they give us feedback on our campaigns and how they work. So a lot of the stuff that I'm just going to be sharing with you today is kind of just what they're finding and what we're finding day to day. So I'm hoping you can take some real useful insights from this session and then apply it to your own LinkedIn account as well. So what I'm going to do, the Q&A box, I'm just going to open it up. Do I record these sessions? Yes, I am recording them. I know I do speak relatively quickly, so I do record them. And then Janet in here has also put how to reach specific decision makers I need. I'll definitely cover that as well. Penny, thank you very much for that. That is awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen. Let's come through here. And then the Q&A is up there. Let me get the Q&A as well. Put that to the left-hand side. So I can see both the chat box and the Q&A. That's why I'm looking to my left-hand side on the camera. But can everyone just give me a yes in the chat if you can see the slide deck? Otherwise, it's going to be a long hour for you all. Perfect. Okay, you can. Fantastic. So for me, the biggest thing actually with LinkedIn is that you can get results from it relatively quickly, even with a very small audience. My wife, I've got an example of how my wife used it, and she only had 900 followers on LinkedIn when she started to apply our stuff. Yes, before you judge me, my wife was a customer first. We weren't together at the time, and we've eventually came together. But she was a customer first, and she liked our campaigns, which is how things have happened. But with it, today's session, the biggest thing is that I have got some specific objectives from my side. So I put these together for a reason. There is method behind the madness. Obviously, the first one is to give you as much advice as I can. Again, this isn't just theory with this stuff. I'm just sharing with you like my opinion backed up with all of the different tests that I've ran. So I completely appreciate that some of you may not agree with what I'm about to say. That is totally okay. I don't claim to be right all the time, but I'm like everybody to be at least open minded because what I'm going to be sharing with you is backed up. It's not just me going, ChatGPT, what are the answers to how to run the best LinkedIn workshop possible? This is literally just taken from what I know about the platform over the last 8 years of using it for the businesses that I've been a part of. At the end, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about the Social Selling Academy and our platform, Scylla. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about that. There is one rule with my workshops whenever I run them is that you do not leave with a question unanswered. Right. So I mentioned that before. There's nothing that you can't ask me. I won't hold anything back. Right. That's not how it works at all. And so please make sure that you ask any question that you've got using the Q&A functionality. And if you would like a copy of the notes from this session, so some of you might be avid note takers, and that's fine. Like I like doing pen to paper, but there'll be some of you that want to just sit back and listen. And so if you are someone that would just like a copy of the crib sheet to this, so I've got a guide that I give away at the end of this that's basically got the notes from this session in it. If you would like that, there's that QR code there in the top right-hand corner. I'm also going to pop in what I also do, if you pop in, you need to find me on LinkedIn, basically. So that QR code takes you to my LinkedIn profile. Come and find me on LinkedIn and connect with me. One of my biggest tips that I'm going to give you right off the bat is that connections on LinkedIn should be encouraged. And if you're here today, I want you to connect with me, right? So if we're already connected, all I need you to do is just send me the message workshop. Just let me know that you've been here. That's all I need you to do. So can I just get a yes in the chat if you all understand that? If you want a copy of the notes, you just send me a message on LinkedIn saying the word workshop, and I'll send you a copy of the notes afterwards. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Amazing. So if you do that for me, the QR code is there also if it gives you a bit of a shortcut to it. This is what my profile looks like. My business partner found another Chris Taylor in marketing, and it definitely isn't me. This one is me, and you can see there like how my profile is there, so you can kind of stand out. What is it you charge for a done-for-you digital marketing service? Mike, if you'd like to drop me a message on LinkedIn about that, I'll happily discuss it with you after. Just because of time, I'll cover off the done-for-you stuff in a message with you if that's all right. They range from £300 a month up to £1,500 a month, depending on what you need. But just so you know, that's covered off. Now, today's session has been taken off, as I mentioned before, off the back of a number of conversations that I have. I have on average 30 to 40 conversations a week with businesses. I don't think I've got a screenshot of my calendar in here this time around. But for those of you that know me, you'll know that I spend a lot of time talking to people. It's what I use LinkedIn for, but it's how I help our customers as well. And so what I find by recording those calls and then analyzing them that there are some real reasons why people struggle on platforms like LinkedIn. Could be any platform, to be fair, but the majority of the time with LinkedIn, there are some reasons why people struggle. And these haven't changed for the last 3 months. So 3 months ago, LinkedIn went through a big shift. And so the reasons why people struggled have changed. But over the last 3 months, it's remained quite stable, the platform, as long as you're ticking the right boxes and you're using it in what we would say is the right way. Although I guess there's no one right way of doing anything. But in our way, we've found that platforms actually been relatively consistent. The same with Instagram and Facebook. All three of them have been very, very consistent over the last 3 months. And so I'm going to reveal the 5 reasons why people seem to be struggling at the moment. And what I would love for you to do is just have a think about whether any of these resonate with you and maybe the thing that you want to focus this training session on overcoming. So the first reason why so many people struggle is that when it comes to selling to people that they already know, they find it relatively easy, or people that have been recommended to them, referred to them, they find it relatively easy. But when it comes to somebody that doesn't know who they are and they're having to go on the front foot and go out there and start building relationships with strangers, starting to get into conversations with them to then get them to the point where their offer has to be introduced, they struggle. So the number one reason that we find is that people are struggling to get into natural conversations or getting inbound inquiries from a platform like LinkedIn unless they already know who the person is. So taking a stranger to becoming a customer is a challenge. The second is how to stand out on the platform. So LinkedIn has changed over the last 3 months. There's no hiding that. I'm going to be talking to you about the changes as we proceed through today. However, what you share and why you share it from a content point of view has become more important than it ever has done before. That doesn't mean you have to be posting 3 times a day, but what you share has become important. And then how you share it to get people to actually see you in the newsfeed has also become a challenge for lots of people. And so I'm fortunate enough to be able to share with you today how we go about doing it. I'm going to be sharing with you some examples of my own content and how we're really standing out in a very crowded and competitive marketplace at the moment. So that's number two. Like you blend in because you're not really standing out, and therefore you're not building your audience in the right way. Number three, quite simply comes down to you've got an audience that are sitting there and you may be building it every month. However, the conversations aren't happening. So either you're not starting them or they're not being started with you. And therefore, your LinkedIn account just becomes a place where there's lots of people, but not very much going on. Number four and five go hand in hand, but they're really, really important. And actually, the reason why most people struggle. Most people use LinkedIn with a bit of a scattergun type approach. So I do a little bit of content here. Oh, I didn't do it. I need to do it again. Let me put another post out this week. Then you might build some connections. You might send the odd message. You might tinker with your profile a bit. But unfortunately, none of that activity is giving you consistency. And so what you're lacking is, and not you specifically, by the way, but most people are lacking, is a process that basically they can follow every day that's going to take someone that they've just connected with, add in the touch points and the time that that person spends watching you to then turn them into someone that wants to work with you. That is a journey that you've got to take people on. And a lot of people don't understand their version of that journey, right? And so I'm going to be sharing with you today what our process is. But that's a number at number four is that you lack a process that generates that consistency. And then number five is that you're waiting for business to come to you. So your strategy relies on the hope that someone's going to reach out to you. So what I would love to know, just so I can kind of see where to spend the majority of time today, like I cover in all of these, but there's some which I will spend more time on than others. Just pop a number into the chat, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, that most resonates with you. What's the one that most connects with you? So Carolyn is 6. Okay, Carolyn's at 5. That's 5. Val is 5. Paul's a 4. Michelle's a 4. Now they're coming in too quick now. Eddie's a 5. Clive's a 4. Ian Hunter a 5. Okay, cool. So there's a bit of a variety. Some of you are saying all of them. That's fine. We have a lot of 3s and 4s. So around that conversational thing, which is totally fine. And that is something that we will definitely cover for you. Okay, perfect stuff. So just so you can see kind of like the outline. So this is the framework, the process that we teach. And I've spoken about this for years. This has kind of become our thing. And I can't cover all of them. It's literally impossible to cover all of them in one session. So I've focused in on the boxes highlighted in that light bluey color, greeny color, is where we're going to spend the time today. So we're going to be going through clarity, which is kind of like your strategy. We're then going to be going into connection, which is then how you build up your audience. And from there, we're then going to talk about how do you move through to generate a customer. Sharon, yes, definitely, 100%, not a problem at all. So that's the structure of today. Now, you'll be glad to hear there's no big sob story coming on today's workshop because I don't really have one. And I don't spend very much time talking about me at all. So this is kind of like all you're going to hear about who we are, and it's about 30 seconds long. So first off, we are a training company. We are the co-founders of socialselling.co.uk. So if you Google socialselling.co.uk, you'll find us. We have been talking about selling on social for years now. And we're not people that can teach you how to grow by millions of followers because we haven't done it. What we can teach you is how we turn the time that we spend on a social media platform and turn that into sales and revenue. Been doing that for lots of years. We've trained over 1,600 people now. Hundreds of people have generated in excess of 6 figures. So our platform, Scylla, asks people to track their revenue. So we get feedback on how much people are earning from their social media activity. And we've had hundreds of people now. So it's around about 160-ish that have generated over. So I guess hundreds is probably not. It's just over 100 have generated over £100,000 in sales from their social media activity, which I don't think is that bad at all. We've generated over 3 million followers personally. So I can't teach you how to grow 1 million followers on one platform, but I have done it across multiple platforms. And we have numbers of different pages that we use. We have agency services that help people. And with it, we've done all right in our time. So our mission with the whole of this business is to give people accountability and direction. So I found when I first started in this whole digital marketing social media game, I don't know if anyone else feels like this, by the way, if you could pop a yes in the chat, but it's this social media world, if you find it a little bit confusing, so you've got conflicting advice everywhere, you don't really know what to do because one person's telling you to do one thing and then you watch someone else and they're telling you to do another thing. I got lost in that. So I had a property business, was my first company. And I got very lost in what I should be doing from a social media point of view. I'd paid lots and lots of money, and I found that the advice wasn't ever backed up. And my biggest thing is that if you can show me and back up what you're saying with evidence, I will do it and I will follow it to the letter. And therefore, I find out whether it works or it doesn't. But if you can't back it up, I struggle to believe it. And so for me, it was about, do you know what? There's a gap here in this space to give people the evidence behind why things work. Because if you're like me, when you've got evidence, you're like, well, I'll just apply it to my business, and that's how it works. So work with us is relatively straightforward. I'm going to be giving you all a chance to be able to speak with me one to one by the end of today's session. But if you ever have any questions, I don't bite. Like, I'm quite approachable. Just message me at any point that you need to, and I'll happily answer it. So we are at 1:15. And what I want to focus on right at the beginning is the changes that have happened to LinkedIn and therefore why it's got my attention again. So to give you some clarity, I use every social media platform, but LinkedIn for me has become something that I focused in on again at the beginning of this year in a much more direct way because of the changes that happened. So the way that I can get in front of a certain type of client, the way that I can search is extremely powerful. The way the algorithm now, I can't claim to exactly know how the algorithm truly works, but from what it's responding to. So when I put some content out there, what's getting engagement and what isn't has very much changed. And it's something that I like. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you what that is when we get to the content section. But I like the fact that the way in which I'm creating now is being rewarded, whereas before, the only way that I could get engagement is if I showcase me walking my dog or something bad was happening to me. And I just didn't like it. And it felt more and more, I guess, like I don't want to criticize Facebook, but it felt more like Facebook than it ever has done. But it's changed again with the way that what's showing in my newsfeed now, which I really like. The things that I love about it are the ability to build your own audience. So you can't do this on any other platform. So on Instagram, you can follow someone, but that doesn't mean that they follow you back. On LinkedIn, I can go and connect with someone. And if they accept my connection request, they not only get to see my content and I will see theirs, but also I can then start that direct messaging. So Clive has just asked, is this the Brew 360 algorithm? So that is something that got tested by LinkedIn, but there's a lot of, I don't like the word guru. There's a lot of gurus out there that were talking about this 360 brew, and it never actually got launched into the mainstream. LinkedIn just made some changes to what is appearing in our news feeds. And so with it, if you ever see it's a red flag, if you ever see someone talking about 360 brew, it's a red flag because actually all you got to do is Google it and you'll see that actually it never got launched by LinkedIn. So again, I read all of LinkedIn's reports that they publish, and 360 brew was a test and it never got officially launched. It was never called 360 brew by LinkedIn. It was just a thing that some influencer had labeled it, and it caught on with lots of people, right? So Nick Brand has just said, connection doesn't guarantee they'll be sent your content in their feed, sadly, but obviously doesn't guarantee it. However, you've got to earn the right to be in someone's newsfeed, which is what I'm going to cover in the content section. But it's the fact that it could. That's the thing. You have the possibility, and it is more the likeliness of it appearing in the newsfeed is a lot more likely than it is if you're not connected. And so having that ability gives us a slightly bit more control than what it would if we weren't connected. That's stating the obvious, right? Now, what I also love about it is that the ability to be seen by strangers isn't reducing like lots of people are saying. If you go and scroll LinkedIn right now, you will probably find that 5 out of 10 pieces at this current point, right, are from people that aren't in your network. Has anyone else noticed that? There's people that you're not connected to that are now appearing. That is a good thing because it gives us the ability, just like on Instagram or TikTok, the majority of people, if you're using Instagram or TikTok right now, the majority of people in your feed, in your For You pages, they are not people that you're following, right? These algorithms now, the way that they work, and there are multiple algorithms that they're using. What it is looking at is your behavior as a user. So everything that you scroll past, everything that you spend time on, everything that you comment on, every profile that you view gets tracked. And with that, it then creates a specific group of content pieces that it thinks that you're going to be interested in. And so understanding that gives us power. All right. And so what we then need to do is work out, right, if we understand that this is the sort of content that is now being shown to these people, how do we actually create in a similar way, but focusing in on what we've got to talk about? That is what I'm going to be covering in the content section. And I think it's extremely powerful. LinkedIn is becoming busier by the second. It's why people are finding it harder. So lots of people are saying LinkedIn is harder right now. The reason that is the case is because there's more people on it. So it's more competitive. AI has created this little bit of a content monster because now, previously, if you rewind back 2 years, where ChatGPT wasn't really being used, or insert any other LLM, by the way, it doesn't just, you don't have to just use ChatGPT, it could be any. But prior to that being used day to day, content creation was harder. Does everyone agree with me there? Give me a yes in the chat. Prior to AI, content creation was harder. It's an obvious question, but of course it was, because now what happens is, and this isn't the way that you should create, but what's happening is people are going onto these platforms, typing in, write me a post on this, making it their own by personalizing it, and then copying and pasting it straight on. And so what's happening is that because it's easier to create content, there's more content being distributed, and therefore it's harder to get into people's news feeds. That's why people are finding it harder. And so with that, having the understanding of that means that the way to win is by increasing the quality. If everybody else's standard is AI written garbage, then if we can raise the quality and fill it with things that AI cannot actually implement, emotion, story, power, passion, those sorts of things, it makes it so much easier to stand out. And if you look at my profile, I think I've got screenshots of my profile, like my impressions have gone through the roof because of this. People for me are sitting there and are just resting on their laurels with this platform. They're not maxing the opportunity. I use all of them. This one gets the majority of my attention right now because I'm able to get right in front of my decision maker. I create the right content showcases in their newsfeed. And because of direct messaging in the right way, I'm able to have conversations which I just couldn't have before. Like I'm starting conversations up, and I've got the examples coming up, starting conversations up with businesses that I have no right to start the conversations up with. But because I'm saying the right words in the right way, I'm at least getting an acknowledgement to begin with, whether that's a thank you, great to connect, but it's something that you would never normally get without this platform. And for me, if you use this platform in the right way, you have the right process and you use it as a way to begin engaging with a new network, and you focus in on treating it like a big networking room, you have the opportunity to build relationships at such a speed that you can't do anywhere else. And that is why I love what this platform is doing right now. And I think it's a real powerful one if you actually maximize the amount of time that you're putting in on it and make it efficient. You're not wasting it scrolling, looking at other people, comparing what it is that you're doing with content that, that content's got loads of engagement on it. Well, yeah, because they're in an engagement group and it's all fake and it's not actually real. You learn how to create properly, you increase your skill level, you will then be able to stand out and win on the platform. That's what this training session is for. Now, before I move on, is everybody with me? It's making sense so far, right? I've tried to add as much context as I possibly could in that section. I probably spent 5 minutes too long on it. But for me now, that is what we do when we're setting the scene. And you can see my profile here. So the profile views could be higher, to be fair. You often don't include an image or a video in your post. Is that a positive? Carolyn, can you pop that in the Q&A section? I'll make sure I cover that. But the profile views, you can see the impressions that you can see in the last week. That was taken about a week and a half ago. My impressions are now at about 60,000 over the last 7 days. But I had a certain post that did particularly well, and I just haven't updated the screenshot. That was my bad. I should have updated it. But you can see there how my profile is performing just from an impressions point of view. Forget anything else. That doesn't mean leads, but it means that the algorithm is actually working where other people say it isn't. With my profile, you can see also how I've optimized it. I'm going to be covering profiles in a second, so I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on profile, but you can see my featured section. I want to highlight that because those profile views, 2,500 profile views, you can see here, if they're viewing my profile, if I can get them to the featured section, I want to make sure that these two things are really appealing because that's how I begin that stranger to customer process. So how I collect an email address or how I actually move them to my newsletter to become a subscriber. So then I get notifications when I send my newsletter out on LinkedIn, notifications into someone's inbox. So they then actually get notified by email that I have created. Again, something that people are sleeping on still and haven't yet maximized properly. So let's get into the good stuff. All right. Now, with clarity, this is going to be actually the stuff that's just before you start using LinkedIn. And also your profile. So I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as I possibly can. The first thing that we've got to do, so if you're taking notes, step one is understanding that LinkedIn is a networking platform and it gives you the ability to go and reach out to a certain type of person. Now, the biggest reality check that we've got to have here before I go into the detail is that for someone at a senior level to respond to you, you have got to earn the right for them to respond to you. So if I go and start messaging the managing director of, I don't know, Nestle or Coca-Cola, I've got to make sure that I have positioned myself in a right way where if they look at my profile, they'll go, actually, that person looks all right. Rather than someone that actually they look at and they go, that person's not active. Like the engagement, why would I talk to them? There's no point in talking to them. Like, and we all know this, right? So if we had, and this is where numbers do matter. Right. And so why you should always be looking to grow your audience, because at the end of the day, people judge, right? And there is a perception that is being formed on everything that you do online. You leave a digital footprint everywhere. And so we have got to work out where are we at in our journey and how are we positioned to reach out to a certain type of person. So you may want to work with a huge company. But the way that your LinkedIn profile is positioned right now, quite frankly, you've not got a chance, right? You've got to do a bit of legwork to be able to get that sort of person. And this is just the truth. I don't mean to upset anyone. It's just the truth. Like you've got to get, for that sort of person to acknowledge you, you've got to bring yourself up and make enough noise for them to actually pay attention. Now, that's a journey. And it's why I always say that if you're trying to target bigger companies, actually, rather than going after one person, right, you want to go after multiple different people in an organization, because that way you start to have multiple different chances of being seen and heard. And so with it, you've got to work out with where your business is right now, who are you targeting? And I want you to pop that in the chat for me in now. Just do it for me, just because I want this to be practical. Who is it that you're targeting when it comes to your LinkedIn profile? Really, really important question. Now, with that, you've then got to make sure, right? I'm waiting for the answers to come through because it is important. Like with that, we have then got to understand that this is the way a sales process works when you're turning someone from a stranger to a customer. So we've got some different varieties here. Professionals who are terrified of public speaking, CEOs, COOs, CFOs, female business. So it's actually quite a big variety there, actually, of different people. Now, what I want to ask you is, rather than thinking of these complicated marketing processes, I look at it like this. You've got step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 1, are you adding more of that person into your network every day? Right? So how many of those people are actually now beginning to know that you exist? From the people that then accept, how many people then know what you do? From the people that then know what you do, how many people then know what you've got to sell? And then from there, how many then people have been given a chance to buy what it is that you sell? all of these things start with connection and conversation, right? So again, depending on what it is that you're trying to do, that is how simple we need to look at this and what we're going to be going through. We need to make sure that we are building out our networks every day, right? So you should be going out to a minimum and sending 15 to 20 requests out to people a day. You've got to. But starting with who it is that you're trying to target with, there's only two bits of advice that I'm going to give you right now. The first is to make sure that they're active on the platform. So before you go and send out that connection request, just take 2 seconds. It literally takes 2 seconds. Go and have a look at their profile and just see whether they have commented, posted, done anything on their account in the last 30 days. If they haven't, what's going to happen is you're going to end up adding a person that isn't going to be as active enough on that platform to be able to start seeing what it is that you do. So the sales process, it will work. It's just going to be longer. And so your expectations need to be, do you know what? Because this person isn't on the platform as much, it's going to take that little bit of extra effort trying to get their attention. And the main way is going to be through direct messaging. Because if I'm posting content and they're not on the platform, quite frankly, they're just not going to see it. Okay. And we've done this with so many people. We did this with my business partner, Nick, actually. And we started to build out his audience properly. When I first got hold of his account in 2022, he had a total connection number of 4,755. Now, on LinkedIn, you get the ability to add in 30,000 connections in total. It's a lot of people, right? And so with it, what you can see here is the content strategy was used to try and engage the people that would engage, number one. Debbie's just asked a really good question there, but there could be lurkers who never post. That is why it's important that, again, it's not that you don't add them, right? It's the expectation, right, that the sales process is going to be slower, because if they don't engage, it's one of the biggest indicators of what should be showing in their newsfeed. If they're not engaging, their newsfeed is going to be full of stuff that they probably don't really want to see. It's why people fall out of love with LinkedIn. And so if they're not as active, it's not that, like, let's say you've got a really small target market. It's not that you don't add them. It's that you set your expectation that this isn't going to happen in a week. It's going to happen actually probably in a couple of months, because that direct message might get ignored to begin with, because when you send a message and they're not as active, it may get buried under with 200 other people that are messaging that senior decision maker, because that's who everybody is targeting. And so you've got to be a bit more strategic, do I dare say the word, with how you start that conversation. So it's not that, again, yes, we're all lurkers in some way, shape, or form, right? I don't really comment. I would probably be classified as a lurker. But actually, for someone to get my attention on LinkedIn, they've got to probably put in a bit more effort. And so what happens is it is an indicator of how you go out there and build a relationship with someone. Before I move on, does that make sense with everybody? Right? It's checking the activity levels, because that way there's low-hanging fruit that then you can go and target. And if they are actually not active, it's setting the expectations that, you know what, this is going to take a bit longer. However, I'm going to stick at it, because these people that I'm connecting, they may be on the platform, they're just not engaging. Understanding that is how you prepare this to actually do the work properly. And it's something that so many people miss, and therefore they get really disappointed with it. And with Nick, we had to set that game plan out. So Nick was doing business with a lot of international companies. And so with it, he had to position himself, number one, to be seen, but number two, to be understood and then in demand. And that is a process. And you can see there through the examples of content, we're not just talking about his business stuff here. We're talking about things that these people had an interest in. We looked at their profiles, saw what they were engaging with, understood that it was a certain topic. We formed an opinion on that topic to then get seen by that sort of person, because if they're engaging with that sort of content, the likelihood is that the content that we're going to create that's similar is probably going to appear there as well. There's a lot more thought that goes into this that unfortunately people just miss out on. And as a result of that, Nick went from 4,000 to 32,000 in just under 4 years. We've been doing this with Nick. So it's a long time, right? But we use it over and over again. And Nick came in and invested in this company because he saw the power of it by actually understanding the psychology of how people use these platforms. Once we understand who we're talking to, we then move into the offer. So getting your offers right and framed in the right way on LinkedIn is really important. I'm going to have to speed up here because I'm falling behind. But with this, we've got to make sure that our offers are being framed so people, number one, if they're being given our offer for free, they want it. Then if we're charging for our offer, so there are free offers and paid offers, we've got to make sure we have both, because free offers give us data and insight. Paid offers give us money and customers. Both of them are really important. Sasha went through this process. Sasha started out as a virtual assistant, charging by the hour. We had to change it because she ended up in these price battles charging by the hour, and it just felt that she was discounting to win business, and it wasn't really cool. And we realized actually that if we specialized in certain areas, that she'd be able to stand out in a really crowded marketplace. For me, Sasha did it, and you can see here the steps that we laid out. We worked with each other for a year, and with it, she was then able to generate £100,000 in a year. That was in her second year of working. We didn't do it in 1 year, but actually in year 2, we crossed that £100,000 mark. That was number one, by getting the audience right. Then number two, getting the offer right. Most people are selling things, unfortunately, in a way that people don't want, and they find it difficult to get the deal over the line with a stranger. We need to make sure that actually it's framed in a very, very outcome-specific way so people actually get it, understand it, and want to buy it. That's what we've got to do, all right? Step 3 is the profile, okay? So profile, then content, done direct messaging. We're going to really speed up here. With your profile, we've got to make it really, really clear why someone's going to follow you in the first place. So I want you to have a think about, you don't have to put it in the chat box, but I want you to have a think about what makes you different. What certain things are you going to share that's actually going to make you someone worth following? And if you're unsure, that's where I think you should probably book a call in with me and I'll help you with it. For me, like Eric Partaker was a customer of ours, and you can see here, he started with us with Eric was a big authority in his field. He had 50,000 followers already. For me, we had to get his profile right. He had to get it right. And so with it, it was about, this is basic stuff here, but making sure the banner's working, clear profile photo, the content, making sure that you're posting opinionated content that's going to generate the engagement, making sure actually that when you do this and you actually go out there and you build your audience. Eric actually had some incredible results. Now, I'm not going to go into those in detail today because it's probably not going to resonate with you as much. But with it, like, we've got to make sure that we're ticking the right boxes. So again, Eric went from, I think and the screenshot here, he's got 1.2 million followers now. And that is from getting this and doing it in a very extreme way. He lived and breathed LinkedIn for 2.5 years, and it took off because he engaged and networked properly on this platform. For me, you can see my profile. Like for me, I'm making sure that the banner is really, really clear. So for those of you wanting to look at profiles, actually, I do write profiles for people. So if you ever want your profile created in the same way that Eric's was or mine, I do those for people. But you can see there, you've got the banner, you've got the profile photo, you've got the headline. You also have the about section. Now, how this is written is really important. LinkedIn is very keyword centric, right? So it's really, really important that we get through it and making sure that your about section is filled with what it is that you do and also what it is that you sell. Your featured section, I've mentioned before, a strong, compelling lead magnet and a newsletter, the two things that I think everybody should have, right? A newsletter, you could do it once a month, but it actually invites every single connection that you get to subscribe to it. And then when you publish a newsletter, it emails people to tell them that you've posted it. That is something that, again, a lot of people sleep on right now. And because people are sleeping on it, it's an opportunity that I am capitalizing on. When you get those things right, and we're talking social media strategy here, and I've not even covered content yet, right? But when we get into that, you're going to start to see the power of this all connected together. We had to make Jamie stand out in a very crowded marketplace. You can go and look at Jamie's profile. We then had to give him the ability to showcase the best version of him in the way that LinkedIn wanted. We got his profile written, so you can see it's a bit different to mine, but he's got how you work with us, a little bit about him. We mapped out his funnel. So I spent time on the call with him that I'm going to offer you in a second. It's completely free, but we map out the funnel. We build out the content plan, and then we run the campaign. So this is the process. And you can see here, it took us a month and a half to do it, but we saw 46,044 successful payments taken through the work that we did together, which ended up him doing extremely well. And with it, I want to offer you the chance actually to have a conversation with me. It's completely free. And if you want to, I'm going to put the link in the chat in a minute. But if you're wanting strategy and you're wanting direction and you want to find out more information about like how you work with us, I want to just give you that opportunity to book it in. And on the call, just to set your expectations, I'm going to be asking you questions about what it is that you're selling and your offers. I'm going to be asking you about your process. Now, if you don't have one, that's fine. We're going to then look at your roadmap, right, to making money. So we're going to be looking at what gaps you've got and how we plug those gaps, because there isn't a one size fits all approach to social media. And with it, I'm going to pop. If you do want one of those calls, by the way, and you haven't got the time to fill in the form now, it's like 6 questions. Just pop the word call in the chat for me, and I'll make sure that you get a link to book one of those calls in. I'm going to pop the link in there now. So that link should there work. It says apply on it. That is purely because you're applying for one of the calls, right? So you've got it. So thank you very much. The link is there for you. If you wanted to fill that out, feel free. There's 15 spots on my diary. There's enough room for you to be able to book in. Every single one of you hopefully should be able to get a spot. If you can't find a time, just let me know. It's totally okay. So big thing with clarity. We're now going to go into the LinkedIn activity specifically. We've got to make sure that we're actually doing some research with this and identifying how we stand out. Now we get into the fun stuff, right? And I know that was slightly boring, but now we go into the fun stuff, which is the bit that we're going to go really deep into. So the big way to generate leads on this platform is through outreach and direct messaging. As much as you probably are going to hate to hear it, that's how I generate all the conversations that I do. There'll be some of you here today that are here today because I sent you a message. And yes, it's me that sends them. For me, people receive direct messages and it puts them off. Like, I'm always looking to find ways to either start a conversation or add value. And so, yeah, I'll pop it in. The QR code does take you there, but I will pop the link in the chat again. There you go. So if you fill that out, and it will then take, it's a Calendly link. You all know how Calendly works. So for me, I'm either looking to like add value via a lead magnet, or maybe sending a YouTube video, or by inviting people to a workshop or giving them a free strategy call. Like, for me, it's the words that you use in a message that make a difference. Like, for me, like when I'm putting a message together for someone and I help people put this together with them, I put it together with them. And I'm like, how do we actually send a message in a way that when someone opens it, they go, fair enough. So for me, it's like, hi, whatever their name is, but you don't need to respond to this because I appreciate that you're busy. But I try and add as much value to anyone that I connect with, because I just feel like, what's the point of using LinkedIn otherwise? So below is just something that I've created. It's helped hundreds of people now. If you'd like it, the link is below. I'd love to find out a little bit more about what it is that you do and how you do it. So please, whenever you get a moment, send it over to me. I look forward to connecting and networking in the future and finding a way to help each other. Speak soon. Can I just get a yes in the chat? Sending that sort of message. Can you see how just the words that we use can make a message actually be easy to respond to? Because if you'd responded to that, like if you got that message, if I got it, and I've had messages like it before, you go, oh, fair enough. And that way you then get the responses that you're after. And that's how I get so many positive responses. Like, it's so straightforward, but people overcomplicate it. And each of you will have a slightly different message based on who you are as people. That's why I speak to every single person that I work with, because I want to extract that and help you form it. And someone's just asked how much it is to work with us. Literally, to work with us is 150 quid a month, and you get one-to-one access with me, right? So that's how I'm talking about it at the end, but that's how it works. And so when I'm doing that, I'm working through this and going, right, how do I get that person's attention? How do I get that person's attention? How do I get that person's attention? And when they don't respond to a direct message, I will then look at commenting. Now, I don't spend a huge amount of time commenting. I'll have to be honest with you. However, 5 to 10 minutes every other day, trying to look at the list of people that I'm trying to target. So I've got a list of people that I build, and I write, these are the people that I think right now they're the best people to contact. I'll then go and engage with those people and treat it as networking. So if they post something good, I'll tell them that it's good and that I enjoy it and what I think. I'm not making up comments for the sake of making them up. I've got to make sure that they're actually of interest. I do find it really tedious to do, but actually doing it in the right way. Eric Partaker, this was the big thing that allowed him to grow. He spent hours doing this. I don't have hours, but that's why I don't have 1.2 million followers. Like, I have 30,000 because I engage minimalistically, because I don't need a million followers to make this work for the objectives that I'm hitting. Eric has big objectives and he's now hired a team that does it for him. For me, engagement is a way. When a senior director puts a piece of content out there, as an example, the one thing that even he or she wants, or they wants, is somebody to engage with it. And so if I'm the first person to engage with it, that's just one touch point that I'm adding where they're probably going to look and see my name. And with it, then LinkedIn tells you who's viewed your profile. So then you can see, oh, they've viewed my profile. Then you can reach out and send them a message, say, look, I saw you viewed my profile. I absolutely love that piece of content that you wrote, by the way, the other day. It would be good at some point to maybe find out a little bit more about what you're working on at the moment. But I appreciate you probably get bombarded with hundreds of these messages. And so you're probably thinking, who is this Muppet messaging me? So don't feel like you need to respond. But I just wanted to reach out because genuinely, I find it inspiring what you're doing. And I'd love to speak to you at some point in the future. Cheers. Like, natural. Find the word, and these are all just words and just structures that we're using to be able to engage that relationship through. And it's a really, really important part to working in combination with your content. Again, I can't keep posting it in just because of time. It's there. It's the second comment up, the socialselling.co.uk/apply. But the posting then comes into how we stand out. So we've got to find a way to be able to stand out. And lots of people are just posting for the sake of posting. You probably don't even enjoy doing it. You might be using AI to do it. Now, I love AI. I use it for shortcut as many things as I possibly can, but I don't use it to write my content for me. The reason being is no matter how much I train it, it always needs work. And the way that it types and creates is very logical. And so it lacks emotion. Even when you ask it to add emotion in, it doesn't add the level that we need for it to be able to stop someone in their scroll. And I just want to ask a question to you all. If someone has used AI to write a piece of content, can you tell? Give me a yes or a no. If you can, that's AI written. Or actually, I actually can't tell. But I just want to see the split. So some of you are saying sometimes, usually, Val, yes. Sometimes, often. Not always for Lisa, that's fine. I appreciate the honesty. Not everybody does usually. So you can see, right? If that's what your answers are, do you not think people are going to think about that, about your content if you're using it? And so with it, there is techniques that you can use to be able to do it. I use AI to help me with my content ideation, my ideas. And then with it, I will then typically voice memo what I want to say. I'll get it then to structure it for me. But then I look at it and I go, right, I know that. So I've got a bank of my top performing pieces of content that I give access to all of you so you can see them if you ever decided to work with us. And with it, we go, right, we know that this format works well. How do we take that logic and what that's used and use that inspiration of what's performed well, combine them together to maximize the impressions? Now, it doesn't work every time. But I tell you, it's a lot better than not doing it. And so for me, there is real signs, and this isn't engaging with each other and trying to manipulate and win the platform and gain the platform like so many people say they don't do, but actually do. Right? This is actually understanding how do we engage someone that doesn't know who we are, and that's the research bit. Like this is unfortunately it takes a bit of time. But as long as you're willing, and if you're putting time into marketing or sales, this research should be mandatory. And with each and every one of you, I want you to set the target of reaching 1 million people in 365 days. So on your LinkedIn profile, you have the ability to go into the profile and look in your analytics to see how many people your content has reached in the last 365 days. Every single one of you, no matter how big your audience is, should be hitting 1 million in 365 days. Because if you're posting once, twice, 3 times a week, right? So I'm looking kind of, if you can do every day, you do every day. And I post every day because I've always got something to say and I love creating. And when you're passionate about creating, you will feel the same way that I do. And unfortunately, because it feels like it's a waste of time for you right now, you probably don't want to do it. If you can't book a call in, it might be because of the times. Again, Val, if you just pop your send it to me privately. You should be able to send to a host and panelists in the chat. Pop me your email through, and I'll make sure that you get a link to be able to booking in. Again, if anyone else is struggling to book a call in, just pop the word call in the chat, and I'll make sure I follow it up with you. All right, I'll make sure I get it over to you. For me, when you do this in the right way, so I used to post most days, but called LinkedIn refers 3 times a week. That's complete and utterly a myth. It's a myth. And the reason why people tell you, and it's just going to sound horrible. Well, the reason people tell you this stuff is to make it seem like, oh, you don't actually have to try that hard. And therefore, then you then reduce the effort. And what happens then is because you're posting less, your impression numbers will slightly be inflated on those pieces of content because you're not putting out the volume that tests it with newer audiences. So I've got to be careful not to go too technical with this. But the more that you create, the more content LinkedIn has to work with to start distributing you out to new audiences. I will show you this if on our call if you book one in. But when you go into the analytics on a post, actually now 9 times out of 10, it's showing it to more people outside your network than it's showing it to people in it. And so that's why people are struggling when they're increasing the volume, because what they're creating is for people that should already be classified as warm. And actually, you need to recreate it so actually it appeals to a stranger that's seeing you for the first time. Again, I don't want to go too technical for overwhelming's sake, but it is important. And it's, again, something that we've got to work. So, Carolyn, now you've got that number. So everybody should go and find how many people they've reached in the last 365 days. Now you've got that number. You can focus in on it. And when you focus in on it, it will grow. This happened with George. So you can see here, 10,000 followers George had. We changed his content strategy, right? We did it from there. You can see how they've gone up and up and up over time. The average is about 30,000 that we were hitting. He now has nearly 30,000 followers on this platform and is receiving more inbound inquiries than ever because he's got an offer that people want. So he got the offer right. We then got his content strategy right. And he actually said to me, he's not even been direct messaging. Like the content has just reached the right people because we've built his network up in the right way, that he's been having more inbound inquiries. That doesn't happen for everyone. George has got something that is relatively sexy and therefore people want it. Majority of you won't have things that people naturally want. And so we've got to figure that out. Okay. I've done the same. You can see my content here. It is educating, but educating in a specific way. So that's my property business at the top. The bottom there is like my speaking and consulting business. You've got examples of my captions there. You can see it's detail that people are interested in. And finding what people are interested in your sector takes effort, work, and actually a bit of conversation for us to be able to work that out. Philippa, when she did this in the recruitment world, was able to hit 458,000 people. Like Zoe, this is my wife, 880 followers. She reached 133,000 people. And with it, from actually having her profile optimized, she had an introductory video in her featured section. That person watched her short video, intrigued to know more, considerable experience with dogs, and considering investment opportunities. That came from being active in the right way. Matt Fletcher, the same thing. This guy shortening the supply chain through equipment refurbishment, repair, and remanufacturing services. 30,000 followers he's got now on LinkedIn. He's actually got more than that now. I think his following is nearly up to 40,000. But talking about manufacturing services, 127,000 here. You can see the difference in his account. He actually landed a 1.2 million. And their words were, we've seen you on LinkedIn. That's not a bad inbound lead to have. And so when it comes to connection, right, this is just making sure that you tick the right boxes in the right way. And most people, unfortunately, are sometimes not ticking the right boxes, or unfortunately, the boxes that they're ticking aren't being ticked in the right way. And so we've got to make the changes there. We now have conversion. So the biggest reality that we've all got to have is that we're not on social media to buy things. And so you've got to have a campaign-like mentality. And this is what everybody is missing and what I will talk to you about on the call that you book in. So we need to figure out what campaign is going to be right for you. Is it going to be an audit, a free call, a lead magnet, a webinar? What is it going to be? Just getting this campaign in place drives call bookings. It's the number one thing that most people are missing. Ashley, again, with his cleaning company and his consultancy business, again, 21 members he got into his mentoring team now. That is purely from focusing in on running the campaigns. For me, again, when we're working through this, it's about understanding the process. Now, that process is blurry on this screen right now, and it shouldn't be. It's really annoying that it is. But it takes you through how you connect with an audience. So using LinkedIn here, how you control an audience and how you use an email list, and then how you convert an audience through an audit, a free call, or a workshop or a webinar. I run multiple campaigns on my account. And because I have built up an email list, so to speak, give me a yes in the chat, by the way, if you have an email list. Put me a no if you don't. Totally fine either way, but really important so I can see. So for those of you that say, yes, we need to build it, for those of you that say, no, we've got to get one in place and then build it. Because unfortunately, otherwise, you end up becoming very, very reliant on the social media platform. And if you ever lose your account, you're kind of screwed. And so we've got to protect you. And we do that via the email list. All right. So we've got to get one in place. And if you need help with that, that's something that we help people with. Our software is including email marketing in it. So if you decide to work with us at that £150 a month one-to-one with me, which I'm going to talk to you about in a second, you get email marketing and the platform included within it. So that's all part of one subscription for you rather than having multiple. P, again, profile, content, process in place, $313,000 order, even when he was getting a bit fed up with LinkedIn prior to us because it just wasn't working. We got it right. We got it working within a couple of months, $313,000 in the bank. Not bad at all. And so for all of you, I want to help you, right? I want to help you do it. And so like with the feedback that I give, when anyone ever works with me, we get the message, we get the content, we get the email list, we get the offer, and I get you to commit to me. We're going to 100% focus in on it. And over a year, every single month, we're going to keep progressing and progressing and progressing and progressing. You can see the level of feedback that you get. I watch everything that you do. You send me the content, you send me the website, you send me it all, and I give you this feedback, and that's how we work together. It's a partnership together, so we can actually get the results here, which was like $7,500. And this was from a lady called Donna. Donna McGrath, if you want to look her up. She's left loads of reviews around everything that we do because we've changed her business. Angie, by having a webinar campaign, 17 calls booked. Really, really strong from one webinar. Not bad whatsoever. This is the feedback that we gave her, though. She had to get the feedback to make sure that she could then do it again and again and again and again. This time, 14 more calls booked in. Sorry, 18 scheduled calls and 3 signups. That's because, again, we covered from the offer to how to actually handle this calls so you get the deals done. When it comes to conversion, it's about getting the process in place. Like we'll work together. We'll build out the process together, step by step. I'll hold your hand throughout all of it. And then from there, you just don't guess your way to success. We use the numbers and the data that we're going to track together to be able to understand what we need to change, why we're changing it, and how we change it. And with it, I'm not going to play that voice note just because of time. But Reese worked with us for a year, and again was another example of someone that did 100 grand in a year, which was absolutely awesome. Now, I need to make this really clear to you all. I've gone into detail. I hope you found that I've gone into detail with this today. And the reason why people are struggling is because this isn't just as simple as ticking a few boxes. There's lots of depth and things that you need to learn. And that's why I built the Social Selling Academy and also our platform, because there's one thing giving you training. There's another thing mentoring you, but then I've got to hold you accountable to actually do it. Because when I hold you accountable to doing it, you then give me the information that I need to be able to then help you improve it. Because things will have to change and adapt. I've worked with people for 3, 4, 5 years, right? So what we need to make sure, I need you to send me stuff that you've done so I can give you the feedback on it. Together, I'm going to go through this really quickly. There's a step-by-step process. I'll talk to you about it on the call. But with it, it's just about following the steps in the way that we create so it's bespoke to you, because it's not a one-size-fits-all. You will all do things slightly differently. And for me, when you book that call, and if you want more information on this, I will go through it with you. We have a training video for everything. So I have been doing this for a long time now, and I'm constantly updating this thing because the platforms change. So many people create things and don't change them. I update them all the time. And I tell you what to watch and when to watch it, because I don't want to repeat myself and waste your time. Like, this is what you need to watch. This is the work you need to send me, and this is how you do it. You then follow the plan in the system. We have a to-do list in our system that you will then utilize and work through. You can see how it looks on the left-hand side here. Like, you've got the lessons and the modules that we work through. There are resources in there that you can use. Accountability is the one thing that lots of people want. You can see here, I don't move from here very often. I sit here speaking to each and every person, understanding their business and where they're at. You submit your work, I will review it for you. It's not loads of randomers. Me and my business partner, Nick, we review all of this for you because your success brings more people in. And from more people in, this grows to be the thing that we really want it to be. If we don't hear from you, our system chases you. Right. So again, with it, it's not bombardment. You can stop it, but it just gives you little polite nudges of what you need to do and why you need to do it. That way, then it brings you back into the fold. So then we can work together. You get every single month a 20-minute accountability call with me or my business partner, Nick. 9 times out of 10, it's with me. And with it at the end of that accountability call, these are the session notes that you then get. And you can see you have the action items that we then work through to make sure that you're actually doing the right things at the right time at the right level. The mentoring, we also do group mentoring. So every Monday at 12 p.m., Thursday at 2 p.m., we work through together. It's for an hour. Sometimes we do training, sometimes it's question and answer. And we show up to be able to answer your biggest questions to understand what you need to be able to make this a success. They're all planned. You can see the diary, the schedule for it to be able to work through. And with it, we will drive you to generate business because your success means that we get more tracked revenue inside of our platform so we can talk about how many lives we're changing. It's literally why we do it. I get a big ego kick when someone tells me that they've made money implementing one of these campaigns. I told you about the technology. I'm not going to overwhelm you with that now, but think about all the technology that you're paying for: email marketing, webinar hosting software, CRM, task management, Calendly. We use our system and you get access to be able to use our tools included in that subscription. And we are doing more and more of it all the time. So to be able to get all of that, you work with us for a year. So it's 12 months. We break it down over 12 months. So it's £150 plus VAT for 12 months. And then it's a monthly subscription from that point. For the first, I can't remember how many people I've actually been able to work through here. But anyone that joins us by this deadline, I've got 10 slots available for it. You're going to get a 45-minute one-to-one call with me. So that's on top of everything else. You're going to get a 45-minute call with me. These are all the different reviews. I'm not going to go through those because it's, again, overwhelming. I'm also going to write your profile for you. So once you've decided to join us, you fill out a form and then I will write your profile for you. So I've done over 650 of them now. I love writing them. They're all slightly different because you all have weird quirks and you will do things slightly differently. But I'm going to tell you what goes in your about section, what goes in your headline. So you don't have to worry about it. I can get all of the information from you. It's also a bit of a selfish thing because I get to learn more about your business. It's quite an in-depth form. So then I get to learn more about what you're doing so I can then help you further. I normally charge those at 500 quid, but for the first 10 of you that join us, it's free. So that is everything that I wanted to get through today. I'm 1 minute over. Now, for those of you that want that, you can't just join it freely. You have to book a call in because for some of you, it might not be right now. So on that form, I asked some questions. You would have all, hopefully, a lot of you have already answered them by now. There's still some spots available, I imagine. But if you haven't been able to find a spot and you're interested in working and joining with us, I will pop the link in here so you can book your call in. Or if you've got to run, just pop the word call in the chat again for me for one final time, and I'll make sure I reach out to you to give you that call booking link via email. Most likely it will come through. So I said I would go through all of the questions, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So we'll love to chat on a call. I've got that. Perfect. Before everyone has to go, was that useful? Give me a thumbs up or a yes or something in the chat. There's over 50 of you still here. So good. Amazing stuff. Perfect stuff. So Claire, I've seen that. No problem at all. Awesome stuff. So for those of you that have already booked your call in, obviously this won't be the last time that we speak. I look forward to speaking with you. Michelle has asked Carolyn asked, you often don't include any image or video in your post. Is that a positive? It's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. The reason I've been doing that is by testing it. So someone else asked me that a few months ago, and I was like, you know what, I'll test it. And the engagement's been the exact same. Sometimes I just don't have a photo or a video that best accompanies the copy that I've written. And so I just post it as text. It doesn't actually matter. I like using photos or videos because I have the visual trigger that people then see, and it may encourage them to stop, or it might actually do the opposite if they don't like me and make them go away. So there's a balance to both. All right. Is there a difference or benefit to using LinkedIn newsletter versus Substack? They're different platforms. So your newsletter goes to your LinkedIn audience, your Substack. If you promote that on LinkedIn, it's never going to get the same level of promotion because LinkedIn wants to keep people on LinkedIn. But if you're on Substack, I love Substack. I don't have an account personally because I just haven't had the time to do it yet. But I do like the platform, and it's something that I will be looking into probably early part of next year. And then Val would love to chat. So guys, I absolutely loved this today. I've been able to get through so much, and I've spoken at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I hope I've not blown your minds too much. That's definitely not my aim. I'm hoping you've got, even if you're not booking a call in right now because you don't feel it's right for you, hoping that you've still got something from it. And for those of you that have booked your call in, Kate, where's your question? Kate. Oh, I have a personal, sorry, I have seen it, Kate. I have a personal account and business company. See you later, Claire, not a problem. A personal account and a business company account on LinkedIn. I work part-time. I'm trying to start a business on the days I don't work. I don't want my work colleague to see my business account, company account. Have you come across this in the situation? What would your best advice be? I have seen it. It depends based on how much you really don't want them to. If I don't know if you booked a call in, Kate, just put me a yes or a no if you booked a call in. If you haven't, and even if you don't want to work with me, that's fine. Pop it in. I'll happily give you half an hour just to talk through it. And again, just find a date and a time that works because it's very specific to you. And I've got the time this week to be able to give it to you. Next week I don't, but I'll give it to you this week. Not a problem at all. Same with anyone else, by the way. Like, come and have the conversation with me. It's not going to be a hard sales call, I promise you. Like, just come and have the conversation. I have built my businesses from having conversations with people that want to work with me and don't want to work with me. So even if you don't want to work with me just yet, but you think, you know what, I'd love to get some advice on LinkedIn. As long as you come prepared with what questions that you want to know, just where it says, are you willing to work with Chris one-to-one? Just pop the word no in there. It's totally fine for you to be able to answer no. I don't mind. Just come and book a call in and bring your questions. And if you don't have any questions, just come on and go, I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to talk to you. I've allocated the time for a reason. If there are spots there, take the time. I normally charge a lot for it. I'm giving it to you this week. Is that okay with everybody? Right? Have I made that clear? I do not bite. It's not inferior. You don't have to work with me to book a call in. It's totally okay. I wouldn't offer the time out otherwise. Guys, thank you so much for your time and attention. Have an amazing day, evening. I will be sending the replay out. So if you're watching this on the replay, there probably are still, I'm going to open up probably some more slots for you. If I've got the time in my diary, I'll give it to you. And I will see you all soon. Thank you very much. Goodbye.